What's going on, everyone? This is Erik from Full Man MMA, and today I am joined by UFC welterweight Neil Magny. Neil, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's great to have you on. So it has been about 6 months since we last saw you in the octagon. You had a really impressive win over Jeff Neal in May. Before we get into why the layoff, and of course you're having some difficulty booking a fight right now, just generally, what has life been like for you in the last 6 months? What have you been up to? How have you been feeling?
Yeah, I mean, outside of not getting a fight, the last 6 months have been pretty great. I mean, I got to spend a lot of time at home with my family. I got to take an entire month off and spend time with my family in Philadelphia as well. The entire month of June, I spent in Philadelphia remodeling my mom's house, and it was one of those things that like I went out there to kind of do a couple repairs for her, like fix a sink here, patch a hole there, kind of thing. And before I knew it, I ended up having to remodel the whole entire house for her. It was cool to be able to like set some time aside and get that done for her, whatever. And then the time that they would spend at home with my family, that kind of thing. Even during like COVID and quarantine, all this kind of stuff going on, I was able to squeeze in an international trip with my family to Europe as well over the last few months when I was there cornering a teammate of mine. So even though I haven't been super busy as far as like fighting goes, I keep myself pretty busy outside of the cage, just kind of living life to the fullest, enjoying time with the family and that kind of thing.
That's awesome to hear. But yeah, you're somewhat of a boogeyman in the welterweight division. You're campaigning for fights all the time on Twitter, on Instagram. Just from your perspective, why don't you have a fight yet?
At the end of the day, like at this point in my career, like a lot of my colleagues, so to speak, they're making business decisions, so I can't necessarily fault them for the decisions that they're making. If you look at the matchups and the things that are out there, I mean, one of the guys I tried to get a fight this year was Belal Muhammad. Belal Muhammad's manager was able to pull some strings and get him a fight with Stevie Thompson. If I'm Belal and you offer me a fight against the number 7 guy being me or the number 5 guy being Stevie Thompson, you obviously take the number 5 guy. So though it's frustrating being the guy that's left out, I can completely understand why things are playing out the way that they are. More so, you look at another fight I've been trying to campaign for, being Gilbert Burns. Like Gilbert Burns and I both agreed, like, hey man, let's make this fight happen. I want the fight. You want the fight. Let's make the fight happen. He comes back with a reason from his manager saying that the UFC turned it down because of rankings and positionings and that kind of thing. But in my opinion, I think it's more of the same thing. It's more of those things like, well, if your client's the number 2 guy, you have him risk fighting the number 7 guy after he just beat the number 4 guy. If you're a client, those numbers don't make sense. You kind of have your guy hold out and hope to get a higher ranked opponent or something like that. And then here's the one that causes the most confusion: the whole Chimaev fight. like that's the fight I've been campaigning for years. I mean, for a while I thought it was something that that was just going unnoticed or people just didn't see it all. But when I heard Dana White say himself that like, hey man, no one wants to fight this guy except for Neil Magny, I thought that was it. I thought like, oh cool, I got this fight. It's in the bag. Like it's secured at this point. And then fast forward to here we are now, a year later, and I'm still campaigning for that fight without an opponent. So it is frustrating being a guy that's left out of the picture when it comes to when you see all these matchups happening and that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, I understand that at this point with the rankings and that kind of thing at stake, is becoming more of a chess move and business move for these guys, as opposed to, yeah, sure, I'll go in there and fight everyone. I know a lot of people say that, but very few of us are actually willing to go out there and do that.
Yeah, of course. And, two of the guys you brought up there, Gilbert Burns, Belal Muhammad, both of them managed by the same manager. Of course, he's got a lot of guys in the top 10. He has Vicente Luque. He also has the champion Kamaru Usman.
For sure.
Do you think that maybe some managers have too much say over matchmaking? Like, it seems like it's kind of slowing down the division at the moment. Just the way that they're, kind of waiting out and using their relationship with the UFC.
It definitely puts a clog in the division when you have a guy that has that kind of leeway. If you're one of the guys on the outside, it's kind of frustrating to watch it, but at the end of the day, it's like, screw it. I'll be your enemy. Like Ali could be Batman, I'll be Joker. Like you can hide and protect the guys all you want. I'll be the villain that kind of shows up the sport of the day every single time. So I understand what he's doing for his clients, and I can respect it 100%. But at the end of the day, I need to fight. This is how I earn a living. This is how I get to my my goals as far as being an MMA fighter and UFC fighter, UFC champion, that kind of thing. So, as much respect I have for what he's doing for his clients, I need to fight. So I don't mind being the bad guy to steal these guys stay and stay on their behinds in order for me to get a fight.
Yeah, of course. And with the Khamzat fight, do you think that he's posturing for maybe a bigger fight? I know they're talking about the Nate Diaz fight, or do you think that there's actually something about your style that makes him hesitant to fight you in particular?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like, I think it goes right back to what I was saying earlier. It's like what makes the most sense business wise. You know what I mean? Like, if he fights, if he can get a fight against Nate Diaz and get millions out of that fight, hell, why are you messing around fighting me? You know what I mean? Go make your millions fighting Nate Diaz. But if Nate Diaz tells you to F off and go fight somebody else, then keep the ball rolling. I mean, like what are you doing in the meantime? Like, you just sit out and wait and hope that someone else steps up to fight you. But like a lot of these guys that he's chasing out, they're completely dismissing him. I mean, Nate Diaz said, nope, it's not going to happen. I'm not interested in a Chimaev fight whatsoever. This guy only has 4 fights under his belt. That doesn't excite me. I don't want to fight him. Send me somebody else. Gilbert Burns said, I'm not interested in fighting this guy. It's not, it doesn't benefit me in any way whatsoever to fight him. I don't want the fight. He had a fight booked with Leon Edwards. It fell through because of I think both of them got COVID, whatever happened. But that fight ended up falling through for whatever reason. And right now, Leon Edwards has no interest in booking that fight. So what do you do at that point? I mean, you have all these guys who reached out to you have turned down the fight, except for me. In my opinion, you go ahead and take that fight at that point. Like, if you can leverage for something that's going to get you a bigger payday or a higher ranked guy, I 100% back that. Go ahead and take that guy. But if you're sitting in a position that you're saying, like, hey, no one's going to fight me, everyone's afraid of me, and everything's that, and you're choosing to ignore me, that's some BS, and I can't get behind that at all.
Well, yeah, and that's the really shocking reason why you don't have any fight yet, is because you mentioned a lot of these guys kind of waiting for the right ranking. You really don't care too much about that at this point. I mean, you're offering to fight Khamzat, who is ranked several spots below you. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did you say that you accepted a fight against Daniel Rodriguez before he had to pull out?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, is just understanding the fight game for what it is. I mean, I learn from my peers. I look around to see what's happening in the landscape of MMA. Leon Edwards is a great fighter. The guy's on a 9-fight win streak. In my personal opinion, he should be fighting for a title right now. Is that happening? No. Is that something I have control over? No. But if he were to have some different outcomes to his fights or whatever else that the media, the fans, or Dana White seem to be looking for, I think he's already fighting for a title. So me looking at a guy like Leon Edwards, I can look at the situation and learn from it. Like, I don't necessarily care who I fight. It's more so about me going out there showcasing my skill set. I'm not one of those guys that's going to create some kind of crazy persona overnight and be some kind of jackass on the camera. Like, that's not gonna happen. That's not me. But I am a guy that's gonna go out there and fight the tough opponents and bring a good fight to them. So I don't care who I fight. I just want to go out there and entertain the fans and let my performance lobby for a title shot, as opposed to holding out and see who the last man standing is. Like, okay, cool. If Kamaru Usman beats the guys number 1 through 6, maybe I can sneak in there number 7 and get the fight. No, I'm not willing to do that. I'll go out there and earn my shot. And if it means fighting 5 guys number 10 through 15 or to get that number 5 guy, screw it. Let's make it happen sooner or later. Like, I'm willing to do that. I'm ready to do that. I'm willing to make a case for me to get a top opponent and eventually get a title shot. So whatever it takes for me to get there, I'm willing to do.
For sure. And that's very commendable. This almost feels like a silly question to ask you right now, but I'm just curious because I know that like you said, you're pretty much looking for any fight right now. But if it was up to you, the UFC, let's just say they feel bad, they're going to offer you whoever you want. What would you take? Do you want the Khamzat fight? Do you want somebody in the top 5? Is there anyone in particular that you would love to fight if it was up to you right now?
In an ideal world, if it just all made sense, I'd be fighting Gilbert Burns right now. He's ranked the highest. He's really close to that number 1 spot. So an ideal world would be Gilbert Burns. Like, you know what I mean? If I couldn't get Gilbert Burns, then of course I'll lobby for a fight against a guy like Leon Edwards, who, if I'm being realistic, in my opinion, had already earned the title shot. But if for some reason you're just like, nah, we're not giving you the title shot, we need you to fight one more. Like, I'll be that guy. Let him fight me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'll be that guy to fight Leon Edwards. But ideally, like, those are the 2 fights that make the most sense at this point. If not, the winner of Belal Muhammad versus Stevie Thompson. But the downside with that is these guys are fighting next week in December, and they're not already known for quick turnaround. So if I wait for the winner of that fight, I'm looking at competing next May again. Like that doesn't sound ideal for me at all. So at this point, I'm just looking for an opportunity for me to go out there and showcase my skill set. I don't really care who it's against. I just want to take that pressure on myself to go out there and perform.
For sure, for sure. And I'm just curious about this because correct me if I'm wrong. I think Dana says in a lot of press conferences, it's his responsibility to offer everybody 3 fights in 1 calendar year. Is that correct? And you have gotten those, right?
I've gotten those fights, but at the end of the day, like I can't help but like have things that happen. You know what I mean? Like it's a frustrating position to be in, where it's like, hey, I've gotten those 3 fight offers within this year. I mean, I think that 4, I guess you can say at this point, but like I've had those fight offers within the year, but stuff happens. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's unfortunate that my opponent got injured when I said yes to a fight and we were unable to find a replacement. But like I said, like even though it's not an ideal opponent for me, it wasn't for the lack of effort from the UFC to provide me with an opponent. So like as much as frustrating as I am not getting a fight before the year is over with, I'm not by any means a victim in the situation. Like, you know what I mean? It's just it happens to be the way that the cards fell, and this is the way that the year played out. So with that being said, I'm doing whatever I can within my control. Like literally this morning, I woke up at a weight that would allow me to make weight next week if something were to happen to either Stephen Thompson or Belal, or one of them were able to make it to the fight. I'm not saying I wish that on anyone, but in case that were to happen for whatever reason, like in my mind, I've already accepted the possibility that could happen. So if it ends up, and I hope it does. I hope these guys are able to like go out there, close out the year, put on a great show, provide for their families. But in case something falls through and there's an opportunity available, I'm definitely put myself in a position to take advantage of the opportunity. If not, I'll go ahead and enjoy the last couple of days of the new year and jump into next year and see what I can do.
Awesome. Awesome. Do you have any prediction for how that fight plays out? I mean, I'm sure it's very relevant to you. You're going to be watching it closely, but Belal versus Wonderboy, it's an interesting style fight.
Yeah, I mean, Belal is definitely a very pressure-oriented fighter. He tends to really try to like put a high pace on guys when it comes to grappling and that kind of thing. I never really seen Stevie Thompson struggle with a grappler until his last fight against Gilbert Burns. He does a pretty good job usually of like being able to maintain his distance and that kind of thing, and pick guys apart from the outside. But after watching the fight that he had against Gilbert Burns, it definitely showed a different side of him that I think Belal could potentially take advantage of. I feel like if he closes the distance to get hands on Stevie Thompson, he can make it a decision. If not, Stevie Thompson just kind of picks him apart from the outside the entire time.
Yeah, for sure. I know I personally can't wait to watch that fight. It would be nice to see you step in though.
I'm ready for whatever. I'm literally like tomorrow starting my water load. It's just like, all right, cool. I'm gonna give myself until Tuesday afternoon. I don't get a call before sparring. I'll go ahead and just get a meal in me that morning and go ahead and just train business as usual. But like I said, strange. I'm not saying I wish this on anyone, but I've seen stranger things happen, and I'm that guy. I'm that guy to step in and get things done.
Yeah, it's certainly not a bad idea with COVID and everything going around right now. But I wanted to ask you, you mentioned going to Philadelphia, and I heard in an interview you were actually helping Sean Brady train out there. You were training with Sean Brady. Is that correct?
Yeah, dude, Sean Brady's a beast. I met him when he was fighting for CFFC a couple years ago. It's like probably 2015, 2016. I don't remember how long ago it was, but it was a while ago. He was fighting for CFFC, and it was like, and it was kind of one of those things. I was just in town visiting my mom, and I just kind of like, man, I want to get some training in. So I literally just Googled the spot to go train, and I came across Daniel Gracie's Philadelphia gym, and that's where he had me training at the time. Him, Jeremiah Wells, and a couple of other guys that are based out there now. And when I first trained with Sean, I was like, damn, dude, like, this guy is good. Like, how come he's not in the UFC yet? And back then, for him, it was like it was a mental thing. It was like once he believed they could be a UFC fighter, there was nothing that was going to stop him from getting there. And it was cool to watch his development because he went from like being a guy that's like, God, wait, maybe I'm not ready for UFC yet. Maybe he wanted 2 more fights. To being a guy like, all right, cool, I'm ready for the UFC. And then like get a couple wins behind his belt. Like, damn, I'm ready for the top 10. And then like get another win behind his belt. Like, dude, I'm ready for top 5. Go to give me a title shot now. And he's definitely one of those guys that I think can make it happen, dude. Like seeing his work ethic and seeing his output in the gym, he's definitely one of the up-and-coming guys that I definitely have a lot of faith that will do some great things in the sport.
Yeah, definitely. It's very exciting. Last question here before I let you go. I was curious about the very top of your division. We, of course, recently had the rematch between Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman. I was wondering, it seems like at this point, Kamaru has Colby Covington's number. They probably won't be fighting in a trilogy anytime soon, especially with, how Colby tends to sit out for longer periods of time. What do you think that it will take to dethrone Kamaru Usman? Because he seems to be distancing himself from at least the fighters that he's fought already.
Yeah, man. I mean, he has a great team of guys around him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't be a hater and stand on the outside like, oh, he's just picking his fights. He's doing that. Like, at the end of the day, like, the man has been able to get a lot of great things accomplished. I mean, you don't get to go this time you see undefeated if you're not a special talent, and he's definitely proved that he is that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the biggest thing that I admire about him as a champion that I've struggled with myself as an athlete is the consistency. Like, I had great fights, and then had some fights in between. It's kind of like, damn, like, what happened there? You know what I mean? So, like, for him to be able to be that consistent over the years, definitely impressive. I mean, it's weird to say training the same rhythm, but it's not, because, like, I don't look at it like, I don't look over his shoulder to see what he's doing necessarily and be like, oh, he's doing A, B, and C. Let me take notes. You know what I mean? Like, we're in the gym training together or whatever. I kind of give him the respect where it's like, all right, cool. I let him do his thing, and I'll go ahead and, like, put my blinders on and focus on my side of the gym. And if and when the day comes where he and I face one another, we'll just go ahead and go out there and, like, all right, may the best man win kind of thing. But yeah, man, I always bet on myself when it comes to anyone. And I always think that, like, I'm that special case that can make a difference in the sport or whatever. So if I had to say, like, what could be the difference maker, I would say be myself. But like I said, I'll cross that bridge when the time comes. In the meantime, just kind of, like, admire what the guy's doing and wish him the best.
For sure, for sure. Well, for now, I'm wishing you the best of luck in just finding a fight. Neil, before I let you go here, you're so generous with your time. I wanted to give you a chance to shout out any sponsors, any teammates, anything personal that you got going on. The floor is yours.
Oh, man, one of the biggest things I want to take advantage of and use this platform or whatever platform I have to really speak on is mission111.org. I mean, it's a great organization that I partnered with over the years. We do some great mission work in Haiti and the Philippines as well. We also do some mission work in the U.S. as well, down in Granite City, Illinois. So if you guys have some free time or bored, looking for something to do, or just kind of want to check out something interesting, check out mission111.org. They have a Facebook page. They have an Instagram page. They have a website as well. Dude, just check out some of the great things they're doing. I'm pretty sure you guys be inspired to want to help out or do what you can to help the world out as well. So any opportunity I have to, like, connect those guys, support those guys, I'll definitely take advantage of that.
Awesome. A good cause. I always respect that. So we'll link all that down in the description below so you guys can check that out. Neil, thank you so much. It was great talking to you today.
No problem, dude. Great talking to you as well.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching this video. If you like our content, be sure to subscribe to Full Man MMA. And while you're at it, make sure to hit the bell icon as well so you never miss an update from us.